Hello, and welcome to the Focusing Way podcast, available on iTunes and Stitcher. I'm your host, David Battistella. Muhammad Ali. If you're of a certain generation, you might even know him as Cassius Clay. But what does a boxer have to do with focusing? How can we talk about a peaceful, gentle practice like focusing in the same breath as a brutal and barbaric sport like boxing? Well, the key is not to judge. Boxing may be brutal, but Ali can be viewed as the embodiment of using one's life for a life purpose, and more importantly, using one's body as the means to bring that purpose to the world. We all have problems. We all have stresses. We all have triggers. How do we act in those situations? The reason I think of Ali, a boxer, as a wonderful focuser is because of the command he had of his body. I believe it took him a tremendous amount of external work to train his physical body in order to be able to perform his life. But I also believe that in the process, it took Ali a tremendous amount of internal work to be in that zone as well. Call it the mind-body connection, but I believe that what Ali may have been doing was a natural form of focusing. Also, I have to admire the amount of focus needed in order to combat the high level of stress of a boxing match. A person is coming at you, swinging, punching, aiming in a controlled situation to knock you out. For anyone, this is a super stressful situation, and yet there was a sort of organized calm and what I call rapid focusing going on when Ali was participating in and locked into a voluntary situation called a boxing match. In the ring, a boxer like Ali had both physically and mentally trained his body to be able to deal with highly stressful life situations. Even if you're not a boxing fan, you can appreciate his movement and his ability to deal with those situations. And when you watch it closely, his body is trained in such a way that it reacts automatically. But I believe while Ali was moving quickly, he was also slowing down. It seems that to him, and we've heard this described by many athletes, the world just slowed down. Things were happening in slow motion. We hear people describe similar scenes during car accidents and moments of high stress. Could it be that the body mechanism we know as focusing just kicks in on our behalf in those situations? That which was coming at him could be broken down into manageable pieces. Doesn't that sound a lot like what we do in focusing? Besides being a boxer, Ali was also a poet and is credited with having written the world's shortest poem. Listen to this short clip from the film When We Were Kings, where author George Plimpton describes the speech Ali gives to the graduating class at Harvard and delivers this poem.
I heard him once talking to the Harvard senior class commencement. He gave this extraordinary speech. You know, he was dyslexic, and he would look at a paper with me and he'd say, "Hey George, what's this word mean?" I'd say appendicitis, and he'd say, "How do you get a word like appendicitis? It's so long. It's so long." Here he was teaching, delivering a lecture, senior class day to these 2,000 Harvard graduates, and he had these little cards in front of me. He gave this wonderful speech about he hadn't had the opportunity, but they had, and they should use that language, that learning that they had to go out and do their best to change the world, to make it a better place. And it was moving, and it was funny at the same time, and a great roar of appreciation at the end of it. And then someone shouted out, "Give us a poem!" And everybody quieted down. Now, the shortest poem in the English language, according to Bartlett's quotations, is called On the Antiquity of Microbes. And the poem is, "Adam had 'em." It's pretty short. But Muhammad Ali's poem was me, we. 2 words. I wrote Bowden's quotations and I said, look here, that's shorter than Adam had 'em. You want to put it in? And it stands for something more than the poem itself. Me, we. What a fighter he was. And what a man.
The inspiration here is to know and better understand the people who are able to perform at their peak state under an enormous amount of stress, not only by intellectualizing process, but also by embodying the body's natural wisdom. I think Ali, or athletes at the top of their game, is a natural focuser because they have come into a complete relationship and understanding with their own body. As focusers, I think there's a lot to learn from these states of being, and I enjoy exploring them, and since it's all happening within us, we can learn from these examples. Try focusing next time you're out for a run, or on a long walk, or asking your body to do a little bit more than normal. See what that presence feels like for you, and maybe even let me know about it. I'd love to hear about your experience. Now, I know I could have cited a musician or a dancer or any number of activities that require the added dimension of deep body understanding and focusing. But being in the focusing zone while in a boxing match made me reflect on what level a great athlete needs to perform at under duress and how we can use these sorts of examples to deepen our own focusing process and relate to our own bodies in a new way and in a focusing space which we set aside in hopefully a much more peaceful setting than a boxing ring. You've been listening to the Focusing Way podcast, available on iTunes and Stitcher. I'm your host, David Battistella.